Hello lovelies, this is the Bionicle Inspiration Series, the show where we spotlight mocks from across the LEGO community to give you some inspiration for whatever it is you might be building next. And today's episode is going to be all about head designs. So we're going to take a look at a few different mocks that use some pretty creative and clever techniques to design unique head designs for their mocks. So if you're looking for something like that, this might be helpful for you. Let's dive into the very first mock today, and it's a very, very nice one, which is built by Katsu, and this is Zyron the Behemoth. I really enjoy how wacky the head design is on this mock. So it's using some Knights Kingdom leg armor pieces from a set much like this one here. And yeah, it's cool to see how they form this really strange but cool looking shape. It's just a great idea. Now, the way the two of them intersect just in the middle, it leaves that little tiny gap, which is just enough room to form a rough look of a mouth design, and then the red tongue poking out. It's perfect. It's just such a great testament to the power of LEGO, how you really can use any piece you want, especially leg armor, to form a head design. You know, it's something that you wouldn't think would work. Hey, it does. Just depends how you do it. So yeah, what a great idea. So with what we've just seen, I guess it's a good reminder that next time you build a head design, play with pieces that may not even remotely work for a head design, but pair it up with some other parts or see how the two might intersect in a weird or strange way, and just see if it could actually form some sort of unique head design, much like we see here. You never know what sort of weird, innovative stuff you might come up with when you're just experimenting with pieces like that. It's cool. Now, I'm not totally sure here on this head design what these white pieces are that form the eyes. Obviously, they've just inserted something into the holes on that piece, but I don't know, at first I thought it was these tow bar pieces in white, but turns out according to Bricklink, they don't exist in white, at least not at the moment. So no idea what that piece is. If someone knows, I'd love for you to tell me, because I was trying to figure it out and I don't know. Yeah, maybe it's like a bootleg piece, or it's that tow bar piece, but in white, which doesn't exist and could be a bootleg piece in that color. Who knows? But whatever it is, it looks like a good eye design. Now, looking at the mock itself, not just the head design, it's wonderful. There's an incredible smoothness and some phenomenal shaping on this creation, especially on the torso. I can see some Darth Maul shoulder armor CCBS pieces. There's also an Ultimate Doom mask in there, as well as some Ultra Build Black Shin Guard armor pieces. Now, these and some other parts, of course, all form such a good torso design. It's so smooth, so organic, and it all works surprisingly well at creating this, I guess, underwater character, which is what the description on Flickr says this is. It does almost look a little bit like an anthropomorphic stingray to some degree. That's really, really cool. That's the end of that one. On to the next one. This is by Constantine T, and this is Bondred, the Sovereign of Dawn. Now, there's a very simple but beautiful head design here, and I think that's actually what makes it stand out and make it look so awesome, is the simplicity of it. So the base of this is built around this Hero Factory shoulder knee armor piece. We can see it came in gunmetal on Breakout Bulk. It's on his knees here specifically. But that piece, yeah, you know, if you decorate it with these Lego rubber bands like we see here, you know, two in blue and one in white in the center, doesn't that just make it look so much more uniquely robotic and just so different? But it's a design that a more traditional Bionicle mask doesn't really do. You know, the eye designs on traditional masks are more horizontal and not vertical like this. So yeah, it's great to see a surprisingly simple head design, but it looks so different and unique to anything else that we more typically see on a traditional Bionicle mock. So hey, next time you build something, take out some of your Lego rubber bands, or maybe even some non-Lego rubber bands too, and just see what sort of stuff you can come up with, because hey, this is such a cool design, and it's all thanks to those rubber band pieces. Now, as cool as this head design is, I think my favorite feature on this mock has to be this boot design. I mean, just look at them. There's such a striking dark bluish grey line that runs down the center and then splits into a V shape up the top. I just adore that. There's this wonderful combat boot vibe here, and it's also compact and well crafted. It's just a brilliant leg and foot design. So cool. Now, the same I think can be said about this awesome coat design. It's great to see the sharp and striking Technic panel pieces forming this really distinct outline of a jacket. But I think the choice to use this large rubber claw piece that kind of bridges the bottom bit with the top of the coat, that's genius. That one piece really sells the look of this jacket so well. And it's just one piece. And also you've got this seashell or like clam on the jacket here that looks like a little badge or a brooch. That's just a fun detail. And you might have noticed in some of these images too that there is a white stand in some of the images and then some without. So they've actually just edited the stand out in some of the images. But, you know, of course this mock requires a stand to support its own weight. But honestly, I think there's nothing wrong with that. If it needs that, cool, that's fine. But I love the fact that they've made this in white because, you know, the mock is predominantly black in color. So it's pretty easy to disassociate it and just pretend it's not there. So if you are ever building a stand for one of your own mocks, which is totally fine to do, it's a good idea to use the right color so that it just sort of disappears. You barely notice it. This next mock now is built by Icy Owl and it's called Slender. Now, this head design is very different from the other ones that we saw. It's very simple. It's only using one piece. And this piece, of course, is the lime and white marbled piece that forms the head on the Toa Anika sets. It's underneath the, I guess you could say, sometimes controversial masks that the Toa Anika had. And that lime and white piece here, it's just sort of flipped over now and used as the head design here. Now, of course, Slender is using that headpiece without a mask on it. But, you know, I think that's a great idea. It's always very tempting to place a mask onto whatever headpiece you get on any type of, you know, Toa or Glatorian set. But why not leave the head without a mask? I mean, it's still a head design. Does it need a mask? Why not just see how it looks? And if it works well like it does on this mock here, why not keep it? I think what works so well with doing this on this mock is the fact that it is this smooth, blank look, which kind of perfectly matches the design of the body as well as the colors of the body as well. So aesthetically, it's just a perfect fit. Not only does it match the textures, but it also matches this unique alien vibe that this character has. I do enjoy the limbs on this mock as well. You know, these larger claw elements create this fantastically goofy leg design, and then the CCBS bone pieces that form the arm. It's a great curved design with a lot of posability. But it's great. It's alien, it's strange looking, it's different. And sometimes things being different, you know, taking a step away from a more traditional humanoid build, it's a good thing to do every now and then. So yeah, nothing wrong with a more simplistic head design like this, provided that it works with the rest of the aesthetic that you're going for. On to the next mock now. This is built by Ben, not me, a different Ben, and this is called Tineron the Despicable. What I love about this head design is the fact that it is a different color from the rest of the mock. And that's a good thing because it looks like they're wearing some kind of diving suit. The dark blue and the black areas are clearly a suited area, especially with the way that those tubes run around the body and, you know, combine that with the Visorak body piece as well. It certainly looks like some type of clear dome would be inserted over the top of this area to create some sort of diving helmet for a diving suit. It's a wonderful look. But I think all of that is thanks to the fact that the head design is a notably different color. You start to really paint a picture as to what the texture of that body would be and what sort of purpose it would serve. Whereas if the head design was the same color as the body, you'd think all of the whole body and head was one thing and it was, I guess, just their skin looking like that. That really helps to differentiate the two. But it's nice that the head design uses Karapa's headpiece, the one seen on the set, Karapa, of course. But it doesn't really stop there. It takes that headpiece and then branches off of it, making an even cooler head design. We can see that they've added lots of teeth and a mouth at the bottom, and the top uses some of those great Exoforce robot arm pieces to form this wonderful crown design. It's also using some of those Eternals satin-colored claw elements, a beautiful piece, and it makes for a really striking but very different design. Yeah, there really is something nice about taking an existing piece like that and then using it as a foundation and building off of it to create something totally different. And honestly, this is the perfect example of exactly that. It looks so good. So why not do that yourself? Take an existing mask or an existing piece and branch off of it, see what you can make. Something else that looks good here is the shoulder design. It's using the dark blue Hully Mystica mask, the one that you're looking at here if you're unfamiliar with it. So there's two reasons I love this design so much. The first one is that it's using the mask for the shoulder armor, and that looks awesome. I always love seeing masks as shoulder armor. But also, since it is a mask that's a little bit bigger, it covers a surprisingly large amount of both the shoulder and the upper arm. So it's taking advantage of the size of that piece, which is smart. But the second reason I love this is that the mask has those two holes on the side where previously you inserted those wing element pieces onto the mask. But now, those tubes that I was speaking about before, they link up into the mask there. And I think that's great. Not only does the mask work as armor for the shoulder, but it also feeds into that diving suit aesthetic that I was speaking about before. It's just great to see different areas working in tandem there to complete the overall aesthetic of this incredible mock. The final mock now is by Joxon, and this is Unshackled Husk. So man, in classic Joxon fashion, this mock is just so full of life and so full of character, and full of clever part usages as well. This whole head design is wonderfully menacing and evil, and maybe even just a slight bit adorable as well. That might be a push, but a little bit. So the strange light yellow piece that is making up this husk design here. Now, this is a piece that comes on the Gift with Purchase flower pot set. And seeing it used here to form this husk, it's genius. Not only does it make a brilliant curved round design, but Joxon has used some of these open holes here as the perfect location for eyes to poke out. And something that I love about that is the fact that both the teeth and the eyes are teal. But the fact that those pieces just form that little silhouette around the eyes, they stand out in a great way, and they really are sort of differentiated from the teeth. Whereas I think if it didn't have that kind of frame around the eyes there, they might look a little bit too similar. You're like, why are the eyes and the teeth the same color? That doesn't make sense. But the choice to put that frame around the eyes really separates the teeth and the eyes and makes it easier to comprehend the two of them and differentiate the two of them as well. Now, another thing that Joxon's done that's very clever, just like the thing we spoke about before, the curved piece here has these 4 studs on the center of that piece. And Joxon has used them to attach these black horns at the top of the head, but he's also used them again to attach the arms on the side here. It really is great to see these pieces used in such clever, creative, and I guess even like comprehensive ways. Every little part of it has some functionality that makes the rest of the mock look better. Joxon's really smart, man. Plus, honestly, too, using these curved pieces in that fashion, who would have thought you could use them like that? Fantastic. Now, some other fantastic stuff on this mock includes the red chain on the arm, using those macaroni tube pieces to form the different links on the chain. And also on the center of the torso, we can see this first order printed piece. This is a shoulder piece that I believe came on one of the first order pilot Ultra Build sets. Now, of course, that's a Star Wars logo. It's a little bit difficult to work that into a Bionicle mock that has nothing to do with Star Wars, but the fact that it's just subtly placed on the torso here, and in this newer context, it starts to feel a little bit less like a logo from Star Wars and just some sort of intricate pattern that's just naturally on the torso of this creature. So yeah, it's nice to see that piece actually looking very much at home on a non-Star Wars mock like this. So yeah, Joxon, you killed it, and everyone else in this episode did a bang-up job on all of these awesome head designs. Hopefully taking a look at the different ways that people approached building a head design will give you a little bit of inspiration if you're currently stuck on how to build the head design for your upcoming Bionicle mock. Now, if you'd like to see some of the other work of these builders that we feature today, be sure to check the links in the description below. You can see everything else that they've made over there. Also in the description below is my own social media, so you can check out stuff that I've got going on over there. And also the submission email is in the description below, but it's also on your screen right now. I'm going to real quick run through some of the rules with submissions. There really aren't any rules, but people have been asking a lot of questions about it recently, so I just want to catch you up on some of that. But if you have further questions, be sure to check the pinned video on the homepage of this channel. It explains everything you need to know there. It doesn't matter if your mock is digital or physical, you can submit it. Pretty much any mock can be submitted, whatever you've built it with, that's totally fine. It also doesn't matter as well what the next theme for the episode is. I base episodes around what is submitted, much like I did with this episode today. So just submit whatever you have, it doesn't matter when you do so. Also, the fan submitted mocks episodes are every 10th episode, so every episode ending with a 0. So one's coming up relatively soon. And you can see your mock in those episodes, but you can also see them in any episode of the show. So you don't have to wait for fan submitted mocks episodes either. And also, there's no like threshold as whether or not you're good enough to be put onto the show. I'll put anything on, man. So submit your stuff, even if you don't think it's very good. I bet you it's 1,000 times better than you think it is. So that's all. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Feel free to submit your mocks. Love you tons. Happy building. Bye for now.